There's a lot of speculation lately about what Microsoft's next move will be. A lot of people feel like Microsoft will stop buying companies, stop buying corporations, simply because some people are questioning their Activision purchase. Well, I got news for you. That's not going to happen. Microsoft is a huge conglomerate. They have a ton of money, and this is their business. Their business is video games. It's a very big part of their business. Just like Sony will continue to buy companies, Microsoft is going to line something up after this, and they might not buy huge publishers, but they might. That's something that I think people are going to have to sort of realize, is that yes, Microsoft can in fact buy another company, can buy another publisher, and can buy multiple publishers if they wanted to, and there's not really much anybody could do about it, just given the fact that they aren't in a first place space anyway, and nobody's stopping. You have to look at this. Nobody's stopping Tencent from gobbling up corporations and things like that. Think about that for a second. And they're not an American company, of course, but nobody's stopping them from buying any companies, and that's something that I feel like people are kind of like losing. They buy a lot of American companies, so nobody has stopped them from getting anybody. Nobody's going to stop Microsoft. Like, I know there's that outside hope that people really think that, but I think realistically, a lot of people, whether you're an Xbox fan, PlayStation fan, whatever, should just be thankful that Microsoft is the one getting these companies instead of, let's say NetEase or, some of these other companies that aren't American based or whatever, like Tencent. So I think that that's something that a lot of people are kind of talking about. But now there's a sort of a rumor going around, and I saw an article about this, and I'm going to link it, and I'm going to go over it, and we're going to kind of go over this together, because I feel like it's a very good article that makes a lot of good points, and that's exactly what you guys are to me. Like, you want to hear good points, you want to hear some things like that, and I 100% agree with you. This is going to be a video you're not going to miss. Hey there, everyone. I'm the Crapgamer. Of course, this is Crapgamer Reviews, your home for gaming news, opinions, reviews, and much more. You'll maybe notice some changes around here, but that shouldn't stop you from giving us a like. Hey, why not, right? Possibly even consider subscribing if you haven't already done so. Thank you so much for choosing to spend some of your free time with me today. It means the world, and I am just blown away by all the support and things like that. A simple like is really all I ask. I mean, yeah, you can subscribe if you want or tell a friend or whatever, but a simple like really kind of goes a long way in, just getting things kind of working in a certain kind of way. And the reason why I say that is just simply because for me personally, I really just... You guys don't understand how like YouTube works, is the likes kind of play a central role in getting your stuff like seen and out there and things like that. So it helps the channel. So it's not just some random arbitrary thing. It really does help the channel. So if you guys like seeing daily content from someone who's pretty reliable, and I mean reliable, and I do content pretty much every day, then why not, right? So anyway, there was a Forbes article about companies and possible rumors and like companies that Microsoft could buy next. And the interesting thing here is there was a few on here that are very interesting. So they list some of the money and what the values are, and a lot of these are like estimated valuations. But here's some of the ones that I think people maybe wouldn't even think about, but would make Microsoft a ton of money in the long run. Roblox is valued at $44 billion because of its IPO. Roblox has become one of the most valuable companies in gaming, and this would be yet another massive investment from Microsoft, and they may view it as something that's very similar to Minecraft, which they already bought for way, way less, but Roblox really is something that they could pick up. I mean, think about it though, Roblox would be, only less than 15 billion less than what they get Activision for, but Roblox like prints money, and a lot of people like talk about this stuff. So anyway, the big one that I feel like is on this list is Ubisoft, right? So Ubisoft is at 7.4 billion, so right around that same sort of mark that ZeniMax was. So when I'm reading this, it says they were genuinely surprised to see that Ubisoft's market cap was so low, as they figured it was at least somewhat on the level of EA or Activision, which it isn't. Now, Ubisoft fended off a takeover from Vivendi back in the day, but a Microsoft purchase could be a different story and feels like a potential good fit, given all the IPs that it would bring to Xbox. So let me state this first of all, right? We're talking in hypotheticals here. Okay, so the other thing that I want to mention is Ubisoft is a company that has sort of lost their way, right? That there's no doubt about that. Ubisoft has lost their way. The main thing that I would like to point out when I talk about them losing their way is for the simple fact that they realistically just didn't do a good job of of kind of getting some of their games out. They've turned everything into almost a games as a service, but they do have a lot of a lot of these games that are kind of games as a service and multiplayer based and things like that. And I feel like that's right up Microsoft's alley. But they got stuff that isn't like that as well, and that's up Microsoft's alley as well. Like when you're doing something like Game Pass, I feel like you have to have a good variety of stuff. Just like, I know everybody wants to compare it to Netflix or whatever, so I'll do that real quick. But just like Netflix has to have like a kind of a genre, you want like a comedy, a romantic comedy, a drama, action, action adventure, maybe a horror, suspense. There's all these different genres, and you got to have more than just one. So what I'm saying is, you need comedy. So you don't just put one comedy out there, you put, dozens of them out there. So Microsoft has, a lot of these kind of situations where they have a lot of multiplayer games, a lot of online games, but you don't just put those type of games out there. You also need, a lot of single player games, a lot of story driven games, a lot of stuff like that really kind of go out there and make people really kind of understand what's going on and say, hey, you know what, this is really cool. I really enjoy what they're offering me here, and I feel like this is something that's incredible, and it's an incredible value that we're getting that we can't get anywhere else. Now, there's been rumors about this. There's a lot of issues. Here's the thing when it comes to buying out a lot of these companies, right? What people don't understand is when it comes to buying out these companies, Activision was like a wounded kind of animal. And what I mean by that is wholeheartedly, they realistically were just damaged. They had a lot of the same kind of issues with harassment and things like that that Activision had. And so when you think about that, it would be an easy kind of thing to say, oh, we'll pick them up. Now, I'm not suggesting that they should do that or keep them from Sony, but I'm just saying there's a lot more going in here than what people think. There's a lot more companies. They list 15 or 13 companies, including Bungie, which they have at 1 to 3 billion. They say they don't really have a way of estimating what Bungie is actually worth. They don't appear to really want to sell, and they want to remain independent, but there's always a number, and that's an estimate value compared to these other games and these companies and things like that. They even have CD Projekt Red in here listed at 4.75 billion. So again, this isn't a huge number. Capcom 4.8 billion, another Japanese company. So there's some complications, but it would be a massive roster of high quality IP for a relatively cheap price. Because this is what it comes down to. Microsoft has a bunch of developers, but you always need new IP. Even Square Enix is only valued at 5.9 billion. So this is one that I think a lot of people think that Sony could even get into. This is what it says about the Square Enix possibility. It says, Japanese companies are in a weird category as there are laws that prevent sale to foreign companies to a certain extent. Although there's no doubt are potential ways around them, Square Enix feels like something that fellow Japanese company Sony could maybe acquire at some point, given the close relationship that they clearly already have. So, and they even have Take-Two at 18.8 billion pre-Zynga purchase, but they paid 12 billion for Zynga. So, again, I think that number is a lot higher, and I don't think that Take-Two's in any trouble, but they are listed here. EA is valued at almost 40 billion, Epic Games at 42 billion, Nintendo at 55 billion, NetEase at 70 billion, Sony almost 160 billion. So yeah, it's very interesting to see that. And Tencent is actually valued at 562 billion, and they're not listing it because they're saying that's something that Microsoft should buy. They're saying that this is the closest rival that Microsoft has in that space. So yeah, food for thought. I think you have to understand that companies are in a buying phase right now. This is like pre-internet type of things, right? Like people that are smart are buying, and Microsoft is smart, and Microsoft is buying. I mean, there's no other way around it. That's what they're doing. So it is very interesting. I'm going to link this so you guys can all check it out. Please let me know what you guys think. Leave us a like if you enjoyed the content. Rack 'em up, fact 'em up, crap gamer 'em up, crap gamer out.